Have you ever wondered why the most bitterly partisan and ideologically extreme voices are dominating our politics? It's not because they represent the average voter. There's another, usually overlooked reason why. One so simple that it takes less than 3 minutes to explain. Most politicians worry a lot about losing the next election. Imagine that these squares represent seats in Congress: blue ones, where most voters lean toward the Democratic Party, and red ones, where more voters lean toward the Republicans. The darker the color, the more dominant that party's voters. For the politicians who represent places where the two major parties are competitive, the relatively pale colored or white squares, that means acting in ways that keep the average voter happy. But over time, more and more places have become uncompetitive, where one party or the other's voters are so numerically dominant that the nominee of that dominant party is all but certain to win the next general election. Can politicians in those places rest easy then and vote for whatever they think is right? No, because they still run the risk of losing the primary election, the one that chooses the dominant party's nominee. And guess who dominates voting in those primary elections? That's right, the most bitterly partisan and ideologically extreme voters. And as the extremists become more and more dominant within each party, moderates leave the parties, pushing the average party member even farther from the ideological center. Moderates are still there, but they aren't represented inside the parties. Meanwhile, ideological and social media amplifies all this nastiness and extremism by censoring the information we see from inside our bubbles, making it easier and easier to see the other party as stupid or immoral or anti-American. Nowadays, more than 80% of congressional seats are considered safe for one party or the other. So when politicians do deeply unpopular things or fail to stand up in opposition to unpopular things, they aren't thinking about the average voter. They're worrying about keeping their jobs, and they're worrying about upsetting the extremists who dominate primary elections. So if you're an average voter, you can expect members of Congress to continue to ignore you, at least until they risk losing your vote too.